Hello student, myself Anjali and I am going to help you to learn biology in simpler manner. So let's start our first chapter living worlds and let's take it easy. We know our planet Earth is made up of two components, biotic and abiotic, where biotic components are refers to living things and non-biotic components are non-living things. So biotic component includes plants, animals, fungi and bacteria, whereas non-biotic components includes water, sunlight, soil, air, temperature, basically all the non-living things present around us. So here comes the needs to learn some basic principles of life. So our first principle states that the living beings once produced or born has to survive. For survival it needs energy and many chemical molecules. And for energy it has to perform metabolism. The metabolism includes basically two terms, that is catabolism and anabolism. You know what is catabolism? Catabolism is the process of breaking of the molecules, that like if you had eaten some food, so it will going to break it down into its constituent molecules. Okay, and the other one is the anabolism. The anabolism is the making of new molecules. The components which are extracted or broken down by the process of catabolism is now going to utilize in formation of new molecules, and this formation of new molecules is called as anabolism. In short, our first principle of life is that living being must perform metabolism. Now, the second principle of life is stated as from birth onwards, organism shows tendency of growth and development, and this growth should be within the organism. So, you might have observed growth in sand molds or boulders, etc. But this growth is not from within, and hence these are not living organisms. So, in short, growth is another characteristic of living organism, but only at one condition, that the growth should be within the organism, not from outside. The third principle of life is aging process of the body, that is growth and development are not the process with having unlimited time span. At certain point of time, the molecules, organs and system being to lose their effective working and becomes old. So the third principle of life is aging process of the body. The living being which is born has to be get old and get aged as the time passes. So fourth principle of life is stated as reproduction in order to ensure the continuity of the race, that if living organism does not produce that its young ones as we are, there is end of the race. So reproduction is must. But as you know, moles and sterile worker bees do not reproduce, yet are living, so we cannot consider it characteristics of living organism, as sterile human beings are also there, but we can't say that they are not living things, so we cannot consider reproduction as a characteristic of living. So as the body loses its capacity to perform metabolism, the organism dies. So every organism which get born has to utilize its energy, has to perform metabolism, and by aging process it will going to lose its energy, its capacity to produce that energy. So one day it will going to lose all its capacity to perform metabolism, so that organism will going to die. So death of the living being is the fifth principle of life. Now the last principle is sixth principle of life, states that living being responds to the changes in the surrounding, like any thermal, chemical or biological changes in the surrounding produces responsiveness and irritability in the living beings. Like someone flashes light on your eyes, then you will going to close it. So it is a response. You respond to the changes in the surrounding. So we get to know all the principle of life. I stating all the principle of life in the short forms, like metabolism, which has two parts, catabolism and anabolism. Catabolism is process of breaking and anabolism is process of making. Okay, growth. Growth, that is from inside, it is an important point, you have to learn it. Okay, aging process, then fourth is reproduction, fifth is death, and sixth is responding to the external stimuli. Okay, so there is immense diversity in living organisms since time immemorial. Variety of organisms are living together on earth. In order to understand the interrelation between the living organisms and groups of that living organisms, systematic study of this is essential. If we need to study this diversity, certain aids called taxonomical aids can be used. This includes like herbaria, botanical gardens, museums, biodiversity parks, etc. From which herbarium. Firstly, the term herbarium. Herbarium is a singular version. So herbarium. Firstly, this word is coined by Piton de Tournefort in his book that is Elements. And firstly, the art of herbarium was initiated by an Italian taxonomist that is Luca Ghani. Okay, so it is an effective tool in taxonomical study. A herbarium is essentially a dried plant specimen that is pressed, treated, and mounted on a standard size sheet in order to preserve it. And you know that standard size sheet contains that dried pressed plant at one side and the label, which is just located the lower right corner of the sheet. Okay, and the label includes the date of that collection, place of collection of that material, that plant, that specimen, whatever it is, and the detailed classification of that plant. For example, from which family it belongs, from which genera, everything. So, highlight of its ecological peculiarity, which ecological adaptations is shown, and which character of the plant is specific to that plant only. Okay, that is also mentioned, and the local name of that plant. The scientific name is mentioned, but here is also some local names. For example, there is Ashoka tree. So we know its name is true Ashoka, but scientific name is Sharaka Ashoka. So for different plants, it has different names in local region. So local names can also be mentioned, and the name of the collector who had collected that plant or that specimen. So now the second aid of taxonomical study is botanical garden. Botanical gardens, they are the place where the plants of different varieties collected from different parts of the world and are grown in scientific and systematic manner, in vivo manner. In vivo and in vitro. So in vivo is that in their natural condition, and in vitro is that in artificial condition. Like you had gone to the zoo. Zoo is an artificial condition where all the animals are kept in some artificially designed environment. Okay, and in vivo is that they are preserved. Some rules are made, that rules were made like you cannot hunt, you cannot do poaching, cannot harass any animal, like that rules are made, so you can preserve. So it is somewhat in vivo manner of conservation, and in vitro is that just you take some animals which is decreasing in numbers, take it and put it in some artificial environment and conserve it. It is a in vitro manner. Okay, the plants in the biological gardens are well labeled, and the label of the each plant contains scientific as well as common name of the plants. Now next taxonomical aid is museum. Museum are the place where collection of preserved plants and animal specimen are kept. The plants and animal specimen may be preserved in formalin. It is a chemical used for preservation, and it contains 10% to 40% formaldehyde. It is a kind of a reagent used to preserve, and it also contains some amount of acetal, that is acetone. Okay, so in transparent jar, it is kept in transparent jar, so everyone will be to see that. It is a kind of a 3D preservation method. The herbarium, the first one is a 2D animation. Matlab it will present in one plane only. You can if you had kept that plant in front side, so you will going to see only the one side of that plant, as it is stitched on that, mounted on that standard sheet. But whereas in the wet preservation, like preserving in formalin, it is a three dimensional, so you can view the specimen from every angle. So that jar in which the animals and organisms are stored are labeled. The large animals like birds and mammals are usually stuffed and preserved. Like all the organs from that animals, they are stuffed. All the organs from that animals is isolated from their body. So that stuffed, that science of stuffing and preserving is known as taxidermy. That is taxidermy. Dermy means skin. It stands for skin. Nothing will going to left. Only the skin and the furs which code for the animal looking. So one can identify which animal is this. So all the internal organs which is not visible by us, which will going to decay, all that things will going to remove from that body, and in that place the cotton and other stuffing will be there. So the specimen in dried form are also kept in museum. Not only the stuffing and preserving or formalin preservation is the way, but also some specimen are directly dried and stored and are kept in the museum directly. So we can even find a systematic collection of shells, skeleton of animals, insect box in the museum. Thus, the biological museum in educational institute are reference hub of biodiversity studies. Next taxonomical aid is zoological park. Zoological park, generally known as zoo. In a zoo, wild animals are kept in captivity. It means control. They are protected and care is taken to provide conditions similar to their natural habits. It's a kind of exit to preservation, like en vitro. I just had explained it. A naturalist can study the food habits and behavior of the animals. The animals are kept and all the records are maintained, like at what time eating, how much it is eating, what is the health status, what kind of behavior it is showing. So one can study that. Flora and manualas, monographs and catalogs are some other tools of maintaining biodiversity records. Flora is the plant life occurring in a particular area on time. A monograph describes any one selected biological group, where an manual provides information keys about identification of species found in a particular area. So, second is a biodiversity parks. It is an ecological assemblage of species that form self-sustaining communities or degraded barren landscape. For example, late Atmarao Patil Biodiversity Park, Gureghar, Mahabaleshwar. This park is the best model for conservation of natural heritage in urban landscape. Systematic classification of living organism is helpful in understanding the interrelation. In order to understand interrelation between organism and maintain harmony on planet Earth, study of biodiversity is must. Keys. Key is taxonomical aid used for classification of plants and animals, and the keys are based on contrasting characters. One of the contrasting characters gets accepted and other rejected. The statement is key is called a lead. Normally, keys are analytical in nature. Let us study about classification of living organism in next chapter. So here we done with our chapter. I think you had understood. If you have any doubt, you can comment it in comment section, and I will going to try to clarify all your doubts. Support it and let's take it easy.